I've been sim racing for about 2 years now, and I'm yet to show you what I actually use to record my videos and sim race on. So today I'm going to be taking you on my ultimate sim racing rig tour, as well as where I record my videos and do all my live streams from. This is my sim racing room in 2025. So as we walk in, this is it. This is the whole room. It's got not only my sim racing rig, but my editing stuff as well. But I think we'll start with the more boring stuff. So over here, Lego fans will be will be pleased to see a massive Concorde model. But you guys that are into racing, you can see Senna's McLaren. We've also got Lewis Hamilton's W11 from the Turkish Grand Prix. You can tell I'm a fan. There's Star Wars stuff. There's The Office here. The flowers I got from my girlfriend as well. I mean, there's plenty of stuff around here. This is actually my helmet that I take to any real motorsport events. So when I'm doing karting and stuff like that, it's got a GoPro mount on the front. And then these three drawers just have bits and pieces in them. Like this bag has camera stuff. This has all cables. This one's got bigger electronic items, headphones and things like that. And then over in this corner of the room, we have my actual desk and PC where I edit videos and things like that. It's a bit of a mess at the moment. I've been doing a lot of adjusting on my rig in the last couple of months. So I've had this area just to put all my stuff down whilst I've been doing that. So these are all sim rig little bits and pieces that I just have been using, Allen keys and stuff like that. So that's a bit of a mess. But this is where I sit down to do all editing of my videos. I don't really do much else here. I mean, if I do any gaming in future that's not sim racing related, I'll probably do it here because that's where I can sit down. I've got a keyboard and things like that. But I don't really have a lot of time at home by myself, so I don't really spend too much time here apart from editing videos. The desk itself is actually a custom desk. So I went to this desk company and got it made in specific dimensions, and they also do like this corner desk type, so I can have it pushed back against this corner. This used to be my bedroom, so actually my bed was here, so that's why I needed it specific dimensions at the time. It's pretty nice, although I do want to change to a standing desk in future, like a sit-stand desk. So if I'm doing any like video commentary, submission type style videos, I'll be probably standing up for the most part. Editing, I can choose between sitting and standing depending on how I'm feeling for that time. But at the moment, this is still really good. It's a great desk and it's got everything I need on it. Audio fans might be able to tell that behind the mess is actually a nice piece of audio equipment. So this is like an audio rack, and it's got a preamp in here. This is a Warm Audio WA73 EQ preamp. I've made a bit of music in the past, so this is what I've been using it for. Maybe I'll do some more in the future as well, but this is actually connected to that PC, so any voiceovers I do also go through this. Just hit it on and it's connected to this Rode NTA 1, I think it is, with a sock on it because there's no pop filter. And then the PC itself, this is my old PC that I used for sim racing. Basically, I had one PC and I used it for everything, and this was it. I'll try my best to remember the specs off the top of my head. There's a 3060 gaming, and there's I think it's a 5600X AMD CPU. There's 16 gigs of RAM, I think, maybe an 850 watt power supply, not 100% sure. I built it in COVID, so it was a bit inflated in price, but it was really good at the time, and it lasted me a good few years. It still does all my editing and stuff, of course. It doesn't keep up that well if I'm trying to do iRacing recording. It does the best it can. It lasted me a long time being a sim racing rig as well, so I can't complain. This is a good PC. If anyone's interested, the chair I have is a GT Omega bucket seat chair, office type. I've just got a lumbar support cushion on there as well. It's okay. I mean, I probably would get a more ergonomic chair if I got a new chair, but I've had this for like a good, maybe even 10 years. I don't think GT Omega even sell in Australia anymore. So that's how long I've had this for. It's been great over that time, but I would probably go for something more ergonomic in future. You don't need to worry about what's in the cupboard, it's just clothes. So now we can come on to the main event, the sim racing rig and PC. And here it is in all its glory, tucked in the corner of the room, a massive 80/20 aluminium extrusion rig with bucket seat, quad monitors, and a beast of a PC that I actually built on stream on this channel. So I'm gonna do my best to take you through the specs of this and everything that's involved, just in case you wanna build something that looks as good as this. I haven't always had a rig like this. I actually started with a foldable rig that went under the corner of this desk, and I had my PC here, and that's where I started the Novice Racer channel from. But over time, I've saved up, I've built up, and I've made this rig. So where did I start? Well, it all starts with the aluminium rig. Now this is an 80/20 profile rig by TrackRacer. You can get them from various companies and in various different sort of thicknesses. So some, you can see on the side here, some will have 2 slots, some will have even 3 to make it even taller and even thicker and stronger. Mine was, it's a good rig, but it was on the less expensive end of aluminium extrusion rigs. It's the TR80, I believe. And look, I have mixed thoughts about this. Yes, when you get it comfortable and when it's set up like this, it is amazing. It's great. It really is probably the best immersion you can get and the best experience you will have sim racing. However, I did have a lot of trouble building it, and adjustments to it have been a nightmare. I just can't see it being worth it for me to do this again. As well, I've had a lot of trouble since I switched over my pedals. So we'll get onto those soon and all the equipment, but the pedals I switched over from one set to another, and these have an integrated base plate, which you can't use them without, which means they're about 1 inch taller than the last pedal set I had. And that means I had to do a lot of adjustments. I've also changed out my seat since I got those pedals, which meant more adjustments. And anything to do with this, adjusting this rig, is just an absolute nightmare. I'm not a handyman type, so I understand this may be down partly to me and over tightening stuff or assembling it not correctly, but if you loosen the bolts in here, nothing slides. Nothing slides smoothly. It will hold itself up without the bolts even in there because it's just so much friction against each metal component. When the bolts do come out, it often will just slam down and fall down, and then you have to kind of guess where the last position was in order to get the position you want for the adjustment. It's just, so anytime I change out a piece of equipment, which if I want to do reviews or stuff in future, but keep my existing equipment back on there, it's just not going to be worth it for me to have an aluminium extrusion rig like this. For those of you who don't know as well, I also still live at home with my parents, and when I move out, again, disassembling this and reassembling it, and then if we're renting, we may have to move in, 12 months, 18 months, doing that again, I just cannot see it being worth it. So I'm considering, when I move out, moving to a tube style rig like the TR8 from TrackRacer. Other brands do them as well. I think Antec do them, but I think that's what I'm going to go for in future, just to save the hassle. Although I do believe, as I said before, that this is the best sort of permanent option once you get everything sorted, and maybe if you're a bit more of a handyman than I am. So let's get on to the equipment that I use with this for my actual sim racing. So of course, there's a few different pieces of equipment that I use when I'm behind the wheel, and the first one of those is the wheel itself and the wheelbase. As you can tell from the logos, this is all from Moser. Now this is the R12 wheelbase from Moser, so that's 12 Newton meters peak of torque, and then we've got the Moser Racing dashboard attached on top of that. That just screws into the back here onto the top. That's a nice piece of equipment as well. And then the Moser KS wheel. Personally, I love this wheel and wheelbase combo. It is fantastic value for the money, especially the KS wheel. Such a great wheel, but 12 Newton meters of torque from this bad boy. It wasn't too expensive. I think it's a good sort of middle ground between the most premium sort of 21, 25 Newton meter wheelbases and then the lower end direct drives with 5 or 8 Newton meters. I think the R12 is a fantastic sort of middle ground of those. It gives you just enough peak torque, more than you would need for the most part, but still being at a relatively affordable price, although I understand that all of this is expensive regardless. And then under here we have more Moser equipment. Now these are the Moser CRP2 load cell pedals. I've got the 2 pedal sets, so we've got obviously the throttle on the right and the brake on the left, although I have swapped out the pedal faces. Now I got these pedal faces from Etsy. They are carbon fiber, just flat pedal faces, and I've sort of taped some grip tape to the front, so it gives me a bit more grip, and it was just a bit more comfortable having also a nice big wide brake pedal. Now overall these pedals are great. There's 200 kilogram load cell in them. They are not too expensive. Again, they're kind of a good middle range of being load cell but also not being ridiculously overpriced. But I have to say that Moses' heel rest, the heel stop here, was awful in terms of it was a bit too rounded, and also the adjustments don't go far enough back for where I wanted them with these screw holes here. So I actually just got this sheet of metal from Bunnings, which is a hardware store in Australia, and just used this like Gorilla tape on the front of the pedal here, and that's been super comfortable, much more comfortable than the included heel rest. So that's what I'm using now. I also obviously run a quad monitor setup. So these are LG 27-inch IPS panels. That's these three here. So they are all set up to be the sim that I'm racing at that minute. Then we have a smaller panel up the top here, which is an Acer. It was pretty much just the cheapest one I could find. I don't think it's, I think it's just 1080p. And that's just where I have my OBS, YouTube if I'm not streaming, or any chats. If I'm streaming like that, any chat will come up on here as well. So I can just kind of see what I'm doing, see my chats, make sure everything's running correctly, but whilst most stuff is being done down here. In terms of other streaming equipment, now I have this tripod here, and this is an Elgato key light. So that will just project light onto my face here so that the lighting is nice and even. And then I have a camera quick release here. So the camera is not there because it's what I'm using right now, but I usually have it plugged into a dummy battery. So it's just running essentially on power. That's what that means. I don't have to change the battery, and it's plugged in via this micro HDMI to HDMI into an Elgato cam link in the PC. And that means it can run as a webcam essentially into OBS. And so whenever I record, it doesn't have to be taken to the memory card. It just goes directly onto the PC. This bag is just full of scrap metal bits because the camera weighs this down a bit too much and tilts it, so that's kind of just there as a sandbag. And then of course the star of the show, the Razer Kraken Wireless V4 with cat ears. So I got these because I used to use the wired headphones that I use over there. They're Beyerdynamics something or others. They are super good quality, but they're open backed, which means you get a lot of noise coming through them. And as well, they're wired, and sitting at the sim racing rig, you really don't want the wire dangling on your arm. So I got these because they're wireless, they're good quality, and they look cool. And they also come with cat ears, which of course is now a staple of this channel. So I can recommend the Razer Kraken Wireless. They just charge via USB-C, and they've got just a receiver that plugs in via USB. So they're pretty easy to use, pretty good, and they're really good quality as well. But when you have all this kind of equipment, how do you actually plug it in? Well, the PC only has a certain number of USB ports. So what I do is I have this. This is a powered USB hub. It's kind of hard to see. I've Velcroed it to the side of the rig, but all of these are USB-A ports, and then this just plugs in directly to the PC. Now, it needs to be powered separately as well, otherwise the USB individually won't get enough power from just the PC. But this is really good, and that just means I can also individually turn any of these off and on with a little button above each USB port on the side. So if I'm sitting in here and I need to turn this desk fan on and off, I can just use that button. And that also brings me onto the desk fan, which just cools me down because it gets sweltering in this room. It's basically like sitting in a sauna once you're in here for more than 10 minutes with the door shut and all the PC and equipment on, so I really need that tiny small fan just to blow cool air into my face. For a microphone, I use what 99% of podcasters and YouTubers are using nowadays, which is the Shure SM7B. This is the daddy of microphones. As I said a second ago, I mean, everybody uses this damn thing, but because it is so good. It's on this, I think this is an Elgato arm, which I've got mounted to my mouse tray. It's not ideal because you can see me whenever the rig vibrates, it swings back and forth and hits me in the mouth. So I'll have to change that, but the microphone itself is incredible. It gives the best quality, and I will eventually replace that one with one as well. The Shure SM7B is the god of microphones. We have these here. These are my sim racing shoes. They're Sparko something or others. They're a little bit worn out, but look, they do the trick. They're really nice. They're comfy. I don't know. There's no more info on that. But the last thing that we really have is the Exodus Racing GT bucket seat. This is the most recent addition to this sim rig, and I have to say, one of the best. I've told this story plenty of times on this channel before, but the last seat I had was terrible. It was not ergonomic at all. My back hurt, my bum hurt. It just was not comfortable. You couldn't get it in a proper position to race in. It was ridiculously terrible. This Exodus Racing bucket seat is one of the best purchases I've made because of the comfort benefit it gives me. Not only does it look cool, but yeah, the comfort is just off the scale. That being said, I did add recently this lumbar cushion to the seat just to give me a bit of extra lumbar support when I'm racing because my back was hurting a little bit. But I honestly don't really blame that on the seat. I more blame that on the way I have it positioned and the need I have for lumbar support in my back. I think a lot of people will be very happy with this seat without that. But I do know that a lot of people race with lumbar cushions anyway, so that's not really a fault of this seat anyway. It's just a fault of the human back. But if you look at this seat from the side, it just looks incredible. I mean, it looks like a proper GT touring car, supercar, whatever series you like seat. It sits in these track racer brackets so you can tilt it and adjust it as much as you want to get it sat perfectly. And then of course, when you're sitting in here, that looks good, right? That immersion, it's brilliant. So I think that brings us on to the last and possibly most important part of this room and the rig, the PC. So as I said before, many of you guys will have seen me build this PC on stream, but here it is again, the beast. I know what so many of you are going to say, and I have to apologize for the cable management. I know it's appalling. I have really honestly done my best to make it good. I mean, look how many cable ties I've put in here. I've put them all down there as well. Here, there's just so many damn cables though, that is just a mess regardless. You can see I've got cable management everywhere, but it's just impossible. The cables have to go somewhere. But this is the PC. Let's turn it on and you can see the beautiful lights and the internals of the rig. The Ryzen 9800 X3D is the CPU powering this beast. It's basically the pinnacle of CPUs right now. It has amazing performance, and iRacing needs good CPU performance considering the amount of cars and track and things that it has to render. So that CPU is perfect. Powering the graphics then here is the 3070 Ti by PALIT. Now, it's a brand I hadn't really heard of before, but it was the cheapest option by about 100 AUD. And I know that's not always a good thing, but I read the reviews and there was a lot of positive reviews about this company. So I bought it and it's been great. Yeah, it does really good performance, had no issues with it, and it's really good. So I can definitely recommend the PALIT, P-A-L-I-T. I can definitely recommend that GPU. The case itself is an Antec C3, I believe. My girlfriend bought this for me for Christmas last year, I think. So I didn't even build the PC in it for like 6 months after I got it, because I was saving up for all the rest of the components. Then we've got an AIO from Arctic Cooling, I think it's called, a liquid freeze or something like that. It's just a 240mm AIO, and then the rest of it is just fans. What I'll do is I'll also put them into the description. So if you just want to read off the components, the list of components that I used to build this PC, it does amazing work running my sim rig on triple screens and streaming at the same time. It does that for 24-hour endurance events, no problem. So I can definitely recommend all of the parts I've used to build this PC. And yeah, I'll put the specs down below, but you can also go and check out the stream if you'd like. And there we go. I think that is everything. That is my full sim racing room and rig tour 2025, my ultimate dream sim racing rig. Well, it's not quite finished yet. It never is. There's always things that can be upgraded and bought and added. So this will change, and hopefully I'll do another tour for you at some point next year. But if you did enjoy this video, then make sure to subscribe to the channel so that you don't miss any more of this sim racing content and join my Discord. The link is in the description. Like this video if you enjoyed, and I will see you guys next time.
Only weakness I have is for the brunettes. You already know I'll kill any shit I do next. No kids, so I'm raising the roof. Next year they'll admit they just stands like an Uzbek.